Although Vita Health Group provided this exercise class provisional with your health and safety in mind, each individual participant has their own limitations and should consult their general practitioner or an appropriate medical professional prior to undertaking the class. Should you be prone to injury, are currently pregnant, or be managing any functional limiting medical conditions, please seek medical confirmation prior to participating. At all times, ensure you follow all instructions provided by Vita Health Groups throughout the entirety of the recording. Should you experience any symptoms of dizziness, nausea, or increased pain at any point during your participation, please stop and seek the appropriate advice from your general practitioner or the 111 service.
Welcome to our beginners class for the hip. My name is Ryan. I'll be taking today's class. So the purpose of the class is to build strength and stability in and around the hip joints, looking at the surrounding structures and the muscles around it. This class is designed for people who are kind of recently struggling with their symptoms, haven't seen much improvement, or are new to the program. So the actual class itself will have a very big kind of range, nice variety of stretches and exercises to help build strength in kind of the lower limb, the core, and the trunk as well. So on your screen in front of you, you'll see a list of equipment that you're going to need for this class. Please make sure you've got all of that with you before you begin. And after you've got all that, we'll move on to the warm-up. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start with a bit of a warm-up now, just get the body ready for the class. So I'm going to start out with a nice gentle march, just very steady on the spot. So looking to drive them knees up, get them arms moving, make sure we're swinging the arms as well. Make sure we're taking nice deep breaths while we're working through the exercise. So kind of the aim of the warm-up here is to raise the heart rate, activate the muscles that we're looking to work, mobilize the joints, and then potentiate, which to make the exercise we're doing a little bit more difficult as we progress into the actual class itself. So keep yourself stood nice and upright, nice deep breaths. Keep driving them knees up, don't let them fall down. So as the heart rate begins to pick up, we'll actually increase muscle temperature as well, which improves muscular flexibility. All things that are good to help us perform and to prevent any kind of injury or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to progress this march into a nice steady jog, just keeping it on the spot. Again, don't forget about your breathing. Nice deep breath throughout, nice and light on the toes. If you want to swing the arms a little bit as well. That's it, a little bit longer. Again, just kind of jogging at a comfortable pace, nothing too serious for you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the joint mobilization for the hips, the lower back, and the pelvis. So we're just drawing these nice big circles as far as we can. Keep the hands on the hips to guide. And I'm going to change direction and the exact same thing going the opposite way. Again, nice deep breaths. Really feel that kind of stretch through the muscles as you push in each different direction. Okay, and then just on one leg at a time, just as far as you're comfortable with, just swing that leg in forwards and in front behind you. Focus on one point in front of you, or pop your arms out just to help you balance a little bit. And again, you can progress it just by swinging a little bit further. So you're just looking to feel that stretch in that hip and activate the glutes as well. Also activate through the leg where we're just keeping that little bit of balance. Okay, and then the exact same thing on the other side. Again, pick one spot in front of you, get the arms out, and just swing that leg. If you do need to put your foot back down to gauge your balance, that's fine. Good stuff. Okay, and then we're just going to start to bring it up the body a little bit into the shoulders. I'm just going to draw these nice big circles with the hands. Again, progress it yourself, kind of as far as you want to go, as far as feels comfortable for you. If that's just a small circle down here, that's fine. If we can we bring them up into a nice big circle, forwards and backwards, and just keep going. Helps to stretch out the chest, the upper back, even work into the neck a little bit as well. Again, a good warm-up kind of targets the whole body rather than just certain structures. Good. Make sure we are changing directions. Good stuff. And then we're going to move on to mobilise the actual spine itself. So various different movements for the spine. So we're going to start with feet nice and close together. Again, nice deep breaths while we work through these. Popping our hands on the front of our thighs and just sliding down as far as we can. When you reach that point, very slowly return to your starting position and repeat. So 5 of these. Again, make sure we are just staying in a comfortable range. So if that's only to your knees and back up, that's perfectly fine. It's just as far as you can go. Okie doke. And then once we've done 5, the exact same thing, hands round on the back, just below the glutes. And we're just going to slide down towards the back of the knees. Again, you won't get anywhere near as far as you will going forwards. And again, it's just as comfortable as you can, kind of in terms of distance. So 5. Once you've done your 5, hands round onto the sides, kind of where your pockets should be. Maybe open up your feet a little bit wider for this one. And stand up nice and straight, and you're just going to slide one hand at a time down towards the knee to side flex the spine. And the exact same thing going in the other direction. Good. Again, nice deep breathing as we work through. So to each side is 1 rep, so you do 10 in total. Good, last one. Then you're going to, again, feet still in kind of position, arms out in front of you, and you're going to rotate to look over one shoulder, and then rotate the other way. Again, each side being 1 rep, 5 of these. So again, 10 in total. Keep counting your head. Make sure you keep the hips facing forwards, so we're just rotating the lower trunk. Okay, then give everything a nice little shake off as we draw towards the end of our warm-up. So we'll move on to the actual class itself now. So here's just a quick reminder of the equipment we'll need for this class. Okay, so for our first exercise for this class will be a glute bridge with 3 sets of 10 repetitions. So the idea of this exercise is to build strength in the hamstrings, quads, and the glutes as well. So just for our starting position, we're going to bring ourselves down onto our back. Get yourself nice and comfortable. And then you're going to bring the feet into a comfortable position and just in front of you, and place the head and the shoulders down on the ground. So hands, palms face down, doesn't really matter kind of how far apart from body they are, as long as they're comfortable. Feet want to be nice and close together. Then we're going to engage the core and the trunk by squeezing the abs, squeeze the glutes, lift up to the top, squeeze the glutes at the top, and slowly lower back down. So we're not letting the hips touch the floor again once we're off the floor. And just keep repeating through. Counting up to 10 in your head. Make sure you're moving nice and slowly with deep breathing and really squeezing glutes as we get to the top. So looking to get to a point where the knee, the hip and the shoulder are almost in line. Keep the knees together. Really important to get that squeeze at the top. And after the 10th one, lower back down to the ground. Bring yourself back onto your feet. And again, we're going to give the legs a nice little shake. We have a 20-second rest before we move on to the second set. So take 20 seconds, have a drink, get your breath back, and we'll move on to the next set. Okay, perfect. So we should have got our breath back by now and be ready to repeat for our second set. So again, just lower yourself down into that starting position, nice and slowly. Again, feet flat on the floor, shoulders on the ground, palms flat down. Bring the feet nice and close together. Engage the core, the trunk, the glutes. Give everything a nice squeeze as we push up, bringing the hips up towards the ceiling and back down. Remember, not letting them hips touch the ground again until we've completed our 10th repetition. Nice deep breathing as we're working through these. Hold that squeeze at the top for a second or two before slowly lowering back down. Make sure we really keep driving them hips up. And again, that 10th one, really squeeze and lower back down onto the ground. Again, bring yourself back up onto your feet for our rest break. Again, give the legs a nice little shake. Have 20 seconds, get a drink, get your breath back before we move on to our final set. Brilliant. Again, we should have got our breath back by now and be ready for our final set. So again, returning back into that start position, laying down flat on the back. Again, feet flat in front of us, palms face down. And all we're going to do is the exact same thing, maintaining that slow contraction on the way up, squeeze at the top, and then slow lowering back down. But remember, not touching the ground. Nice deep breathing, keeping the hips in line with the knees and the shoulder where possible. Again, you count yourself up to 10. So the slower the better with these. The slower they do them, the more time we spend under tension. And after the 10th one, again, slowly bring hips back down onto the floor and bring ourselves back onto our feet. Again, give your legs a nice little shake, take 20 seconds, get your breath back before we move on to the next exercise. Okay, so our next exercise are step ups. So a really great exercise for kind of force production up into the ankle, the knee and the hip as well. So we're going to start off facing towards a step. Obviously do it wherever it's safe to do so. So a step for me is kind of roughly, just kind of halfway down my shin, nothing too high. And all we're going to do is face a step, bring one foot up and then push up onto the other one. And I'm going to slowly lower back down, like so. I'm just going to keep repeating this. 1 foot after another. I'm going to go with the 1 foot forward first, then we'll swap after 5. Really nice and slow, don't rush up onto the step. Make sure we're lowering down nice and slowly as well. Okay, so after 5, then you now swap the foot that you're leading with over to the other side. And then it's the same leg that goes forward first, is the same one that comes back first. Again, 5 on that side. Nice, keep breathing, keep it under control. And last one. And back down. Good. And you take 20 seconds, have a little bit of a breather before we move on to our second set. Okay, so moving on to our second set. Again, we're going to repeat the exact same process. Remembering which leg that we started with. So again, for me, it'll be my right leg. Again, nice and slowly, bringing it up, pushing it up onto that step, and slowly lowering back down. If you want to progress a little bit, try and put the foot a little bit further towards the back of the step. Just shift the weight a little bit further forwards. Remember, it's the same one that goes forward first as the first one to come back down. Trying to keep the hips level as we work through these. You might notice a bit of a shift in the hips as you come up. Try and keep them nice and level. Again, 5 on each side. Okay, maintaining that real slow control on the upwards phase and the downwards. So after 5, we're going to swap over onto the other foot. Don't rush these. Keep that downwards phase nice and slow. And just keep counting your head up to 10. Maintain that nice deep breathing. And last one. Good, again, just take 20 seconds, get your breath back, have a little bit of a drink, and take 20 seconds before we move on to our final set. Okay, perfect. So moving on to our final set now. Again, we could do the exact same thing, this time with a little bit of a variation. So we're just gonna, as we bring that foot up, either twist the foot inwards or outwards, just to put a little bit of variation on the exercise, engage the glutes and the hamstrings a little bit differently. So maybe alternate and do one with the foot facing outwards, and lower back down, the foot facing forwards. And then one inwards. And you should feel a bit of a difference in the hip and the hamstrings as well. Again, just 5 on each foot. One more. Good, again, the other foot. Twisting that foot out as we push up, and keeping it nice and straight as we come back down. Don't forget that nice deep breathing as we work through. Last one. Perfect, well done. So that's our final set. It's the end of this exercise before we move on to our next one. So this exercise is prone hip extension, a really good exercise for building mobility in the hip joint itself and to strengthen up the hip around the glutes and the lower back as well. Maybe even the hamstring a little bit on top of that. So we're going to lay on our front and alternating legs, so one hip at a time. We're going to lift the leg up off the floor and back down. So as far as you can, as far as you're comfortable with. So once you've done one on each side, that's one rep. We're going to do 10 of them and then take a rest, okay? So keep working through, nice and slow. Nice deep rests to work in these and really get that leg up. Almost like you're puppet and someone's lifting your foot up by a string. Good, try and squeeze the glute as we get the leg up to the top. Real nice deep breathing. And just keep counting in your head up to 10. So 10 on each side, 20 in total. Good, keep working. Good, and one more on each side, 6 to 10. And lay flat down on the floor, let the body rest. Just take 20 seconds, a bit of a breather, a bit of a rest break, let the muscles recover before you go on to our second set. Okay, when we're ready, move on to our second set. Again, repeating that movement. Again, just lifting that foot as high up as it feels comfortable for you. So it might only be a very small movement, as long as we're working to your physical limit, that's all we're asking to do. Okay, so very, very slowly again. Nice deep breaths. Lift one leg up and the other side. Very slow, very steady. Maintaining that nice deep breathing. Good. So the lower back, the glutes and the hamstring often very well linked. So you could just train all three. And nice and strong, which you're all doing the roll properly. Good, so you should feel all three working as you lift that leg up. Good, and one more on each side. Make sure you keep squeezing that glute right at the top, hold that there, and slowly lower back down. And when we're ready, slowly bring ourselves back up onto our feet. Good stuff. Again, just take a little bit of a shake of the legs, some nice deep breaths. Have 20 seconds to recover before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, for this exercise, we're looking to shift the weight of the body from one side over to the other. So we've got one leg at a time, really stabilizing and holding the body mass on each side. So for example, we're going to move over onto that left leg, hold that there for a couple of seconds and slowly move over onto the right. Really, really slowly holding this position in a really steady, in a nice steady state, and just keep moving that weight over from one side to the other. Make sure you can feel it in the hip all the way down into the foot. There's a little bit of a shakiness. So we're going to do that for, we're going to do 5 of these on each foot, and then we're going to a nice little rest before we go into a second set. So we perform them really, really slowly, almost kind of 5 seconds on each foot. Okay, so starting now. So move over, hold, 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 and then move over onto the other side. Hold that weight, and just keep transferring that weight from one side to another, holding it for about 5 seconds. Good. Good stuff. And just keep moving, keep counting. So it's almost 10 in total with 5 on each side. Good, and then 1 more on each side. Good, and then back to that starting position. Just keep your legs a nice little shake before we go into our second set. Okay, and moving on to our second set. So we're just gonna progressively increase the amount of reps on each side. So this time we're gonna do 8 on each side before we move on. Okay, again, same amount of time on each foot. So on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then shift over onto the other side. And just keep alternating from one side to the other. Nice big shift across, so we've got to really move that weight from one side to the other, rather than just stepping there. It needs to be a nice big transfer to it, kind of the legs accepting the shift in the load of the pelvis as we move from one side to the other. Again, just keep counting up until you've done 8 on each side. Okay, so that's halfway. Good. So you should only have 2 feet on the floor for a really, really short amount of time. Good, hold that. A nice deep breath as we move from one side over to the other. Good. And feet back down. Again, give the legs a nice little shake. Just have to take 20 seconds before we move on to our third and final set. Okay, and moving on to our third and final set. Again, we're looking to just progress that a little bit more. And the way we're going to do that on this set is as we shift the weight over, we're just going to kind of lean over that side a little bit more. So moving out and over, for example, so over to this side, and then back over. Again, tilting over to that side where we hold that weight. Again, just 8 on each side for these. So keep counting. Nice deep breaths as we keep working through. Good. Keep alternating feet. So you should really feel your hips starting to wake, because we're really starting to work all the way down, aching the calves and the feet as well. So that whole limb should really be working. Good. 2 more. 2 more on each side, that is. Good, last ones. And shift over. Good, and then bring everything back into the middle and give the legs a nice little shake off. Just move the hips side to side. Nice deep breaths. Just take 20 seconds for the legs to have a little bit of recovery time, get your breath back, get a drink before we move on to our next exercise. So our next exercise is a stretch for the hip flexors, which are the muscles that run from the quads up and above the hip. That involves anything where the hip is being flexed. So I'm going to start facing either way, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to, one leg at a time, bring one leg forward and the other leg back, and just lean forward until you can feel, bending the knee until you can feel a stretch in the front of that hip there. Again, just holding that position for 20 seconds. So 20 seconds starting in 3, 2, and 1. Nice deep rest, we hold that stretch. And after 20 seconds, we're going to swap sides. Again, just walk that leg back and leaning forward so you feel a stretch. And actually just keep shifting your foot position until you can feel a stretch down the front. Again, if you've got wall near you, you can hold on to that for balance, looking to stretch the muscles. It doesn't matter about working balance here. So again, holding this for 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Nice deep breaths again. Good. 3, 2, 1, and bring the legs back up. Give legs a nice little shake. And just take 20 seconds, a little bit of a breather before we move on to our next set. Okay, moving on to our second set. Again, I'll just show side on so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to step 1 foot forward, 1 step back. So we've got Andy to have the hands on the hips, and so you can just push the pelvis forward a little bit forward. There we are. And again, 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, and 1. So stand upright, nice deep breaths. Again, feel that stretch down the front of that hip. Okay, so leaning forward onto that front leg. Nice deep breaths. Again, if you can't feel it, just keep shifting that back foot back to progress that stretch. Good. And for 20 seconds, we're going to swap over onto the other leg. Again, just walking that foot back behind you. The foot flat to the floor. Hands on the hips and push forward, bringing this hip as far forward as possible, standing up nice and straight. Nice deep breaths. So 20 seconds starting from now. Nice slow breaths. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Give legs a nice little shake. Good stuff. So, again, just take 20 seconds, give it a little bit of a rest, have a drink, get your breath back before we move on to our next exercise. Okay, so our first exercise will be opening and closing of the gate. So really good mobility exercise for the hips and for the knees as well. So if you want to use a chair just for a little bit of balance, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you've got enough room between yourself and the chair to move the knee close to the chair, up and out to the side. So we're going to bring the knee up, out and down, and repeat on the other side. And we're just going to work through this for 30 seconds. So starting in 3, 2 and 1, let's go. So keep bringing that hip and that knee up and out. Again, if you don't need the chair, don't hold it. Okay, and after 15 seconds, we're going to switch and we're now opening the gate. So bringing that hip up and away from the body. After 30 seconds, you bring ourselves back into that starting position, give the legs a nice little bit of a shake. We're going to take 20 seconds before we move on to our second set of 30 seconds. Let's go and get a drink, take a breather, and we'll come back for our second set. Okay, so we should be ready to go again for our second set. So again, if you need to use a chair, please do. If not, try and do it without. Again, we're just going to start out with closing that gate on each side. So bringing turning that hip back inwards. Same with the knee. Really bend that knee as we bring it back in. Again, working for 30 seconds. Then after 15, we are then going to swap and bring that knee up and out, working on both sides. Again, just work as far as you can. Try and bring that knee as high as you can and drive it back in line with the body as far as you can. Really good for the glutes, as well as the knee and the structures around it. Okay, real. So again, that's another 30 seconds. Again, just have a nice short little breather, quick 20 seconds, give your legs a nice little shake. Gentle walk on the spot while you get your breath back. So take 20 seconds and then we'll go again for our third set. Okay, so moving on to our third set now. So again, same thing, your 30 seconds, 15 opening and then 15 closing of that gate. The gate being the knee, obviously. So again, if you need to use the chair for balance, please do. Bring that knee up and out to the side. Good stuff. And after 15 seconds, I'm going to swap. I'm going to close the gate. Should really feel the glutes starting to tire now. And the hamstrings as well, where you really flex that knee as you bring it in. Good stuff. And again, bring yourself back to that starting position, give the legs a nice little shake off. Just walk on the spot, get that blood flow going again, and I'm going to move on to our next exercise. Again, just take 20 seconds for a breather. So next up we have got a stretch for the piriformis muscle, which runs just underneath the glutes. Can become quite stiff and restricted if we've got tight glutes, and the muscle itself can become quite tight. So we're going to start off in a seated position. I'm going to bring the outside of the ankle onto the other knee, placing the hand on the other leg and just pushing down. So adjust that foot position so you can, and push down there until we feel a stretch in the hip. Nice deep breaths. I'm just going to hold that for 20 seconds. If you want to progress it a little bit, try and lift this knee up off the floor. Again, pushing that knee down. Nice deep breaths. Good, and swap legs. Again, just lowering this knee, pushing down to stretch it out, and then come up onto the toes on this one to lift this foot. Again, 20 seconds, nice deep breaths. Starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. Really good stretching out the actual glutes as well. And lower that leg back down into the floor. After 20 seconds, just take a little bit of time. Just take 20 seconds, a bit of a recovery break, and to get your breath back. Have a little bit of a drink, and we'll move on to our second set. Okay, moving on to our second set. Again, moving back to side that we started with last time. Just bring that ankle up onto there. And again, just push that knee down as far as we can to really stretch out the glutes and the hip. So we're gonna take nice deep breaths where we hold that for 20 seconds. So starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. So put a bit of pressure on the inside of that knee. Nice deep breaths, relax the body. Good, a little bit longer. And after 20 seconds, lower the leg onto the floor and swap over onto the other side. Again, just pushing down on the outside of that knee. And bringing this knee up where needed, just to progress that stretch. Again, 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. We're going to take that nice deep breathing. So as we take the nice deep breaths, the body relaxes and we can then push a little bit further into that stretch. And lower that leg down to the ground again. Again, just take one more little break, just take 20 seconds, let the legs recover, get a drink again, and we'll move into our third and final set. And moving on to our third and final set. So again, working through on the same side to begin with. Let's get in that nice position, get everything set up, and then just let the outside of that knee fall down as we apply a bit of pressure. Again, 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, and 1. So just put, if you can already feel the stretch, leave it there. If you can't, just apply that pressure down on the knee to progress it. Maintain that nice deep breathing. Remember, we want to relax as we're stretching. And again, after 20 seconds, we're just going to swap over and repeat on the other leg. And again, just sit nice and tall. And again, 20 seconds, starting in 3, 2, and 1. Good, a little bit longer, keep holding that. Really big deep breaths. Good, and after 20 seconds, lowered back down onto the ground. Then we can bring ourselves up onto our feet, give the legs a nice little bit of a shake out, move them hips. And that brings us to the end of that stretch, but also to the end of that class as well. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you've had some benefit from the class and found it beneficial. So we're just going to move on now into a little bit of a cool down to help prepare the body to stop exercising. Thank you. Okay, so the same way we prepare the body to warm up for exercise, we have to prepare the body to cool down in the same way. So we just to start off with that, we pop our hands on our hips, in nice big circles, working around as far as we can. So looking to lower that heart rate back down to a resting level and keep the fluids transporting around the body to the tissues that we've worked. Nice deep breathing throughout. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good, and then change direction, the exact same thing. Try and use your hands just to guide your hips a little bit further. Really progress that stretch if you want to. Good stuff. Keep working. Twice more round, and we'll move on to our next stretch. Okay, so starting off, hands on front of the legs. We're just going to reach down to touch our toes, nice and slowly, and coming back up. Ensure we're going down as slowly as we're coming back up. Again, maintain deep breathing as we're working down to the toes and back up to our start position. Keep the knees nice and straight, don't let the knees bend as we work down. Okay, and then bring the hands up and behind the head. Again, nice deep breathing while working through all of these movements. So really open that chest up, nice deep breaths, and we're just going to work. Bring the hips out and the shoulders over to the other side. And the other way. And rotate to look each way. Again, just hold it at the end of the stretch and work around the opposite side. And forwards. Again, keeping them knees nice and straight. Keep the back in line. And back up. Nice deep breaths as we're working down. Nice deep breaths in as we come back up. And the same thing, leaning backwards. Okay, then just moving on to a very steady, just walking on the spot. Again, looking to keep those structures working. Looking to engage that skeletal muscle pump. So every time your muscle contracts, it pumps that blood flow back around the body. Similar to where the heart does, but rather up near the heart, right down near the structures that we've worked. So again, just nice and slow. Keep your breathing nice and deep. Very gentle. I'm just going to move it around the mat, just side to side. Again, just engages different muscle groups ever so slightly. Okay, then just to finish off our cool down, some really nice deep breathing. Again, the nice deep breath really helps to lower that heart rate back to its resting level. So hands on hips or behind your back, wherever feels comfortable. Really get that chest out. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just keep repeating that. And that'll bring us to the end of our cool down. Thank you very much.